The Viking Age, spanning roughly from 793 to 1066 AD, is often characterized by its ferocious warriors and their devastating raids across Europe. Central to the Vikings' fearsome reputation were their sophisticated weapons and advanced warfare techniques. These tools of destruction were not merely instruments of battle, but also symbols of power and status within Viking society. This video explores the primary weapons used by the Vikings, their construction, and the warfare strategies that made them such formidable foes. But before we dive in, I still encourage you to ever so gently pet the subscribe button just for good luck. Now back to the video. The sword, a symbol of power. Among the most prized weapons of the Vikings was the sword. Typically reserved for the elite due to its costly production, the Viking sword was a double-edged blade, usually about 70 to 80 centimeters long. Made from high-quality steel, these swords often featured intricate designs and inscriptions on the blade, hilt, and pommel, signifying the owner's status and wealth. The process of creating a Viking sword was labor-intensive, involving techniques such as pattern welding, which increased the blade's strength and flexibility. As such, swords were not only functional in combat, but also carried great symbolic and cultural significance. The axe, the everyman's weapon. Contrary to the sword, the axe was more commonly used by Viking warriors of all classes due to its relative affordability and versatility. Viking axes ranged from small hand axes to large two-handed battle axes. The latter, often referred to as the Dane axe, had a broad crescent-shaped blade and was capable of delivering devastating blows capable of cleaving shields and armor. The simplicity and effectiveness of the axe made it a staple in Viking warfare, equally useful in battle and daily life. The spear, a versatile tool. The spear was perhaps the most ubiquitous weapon in the Viking arsenal, valued for its versatility and efficiency. Typically, a Viking spear consisted of a wooden shaft, topped with a leaf-shaped iron head. Spears could be used for thrusting in close combat or thrown as projectiles, providing flexibility on the battlefield. Additionally, spears were often decorated and could signify a warrior's status similar to swords. The ability to use spears in both offensive and defensive maneuvers made them indispensable to Viking warfare. The shield, protection and tactic. No discussion of Viking weaponry would be complete without mentioning the shield, an essential component of Viking defensive tactics. Viking shields were usually round, made from wood, and reinforced with a central iron boss. They varied in size, but were generally large enough to provide significant protection. The use of the shield wall, where warriors would stand close together with their shields overlapping, was a common and effective tactic in Viking battles. This formation provided a solid defense against incoming attacks and allowed the Vikings to advance steadily towards their opponents. The bow and arrow, long-range precision. While the Vikings are often celebrated for their hand-to-hand combat prowess, they also employed ranged weapons such as the bow and arrow. Viking bows were typically made from yew or elm, materials that provided the necessary strength and flexibility. Arrows, often tipped with iron points, were used to weaken enemy lines before the Vikings engaged in close combat. The strategic use of archers could turn the tide of battle by causing chaos and thinning enemy ranks from a distance. Warfare strategies beyond brutality. Viking warfare was not solely reliant on brute strength and weaponry, it also involved sophisticated strategies and tactics. The element of surprise was a crucial aspect of Viking raids, often carried out swiftly and unexpectedly, leaving little time for the enemy to mount a defense. Mobility was another key factor, facilitated by their iconic longships, which allowed Vikings to traverse oceans and rivers with remarkable speed. This mobility enabled them to strike at vulnerable points, retreat quickly, and reappear elsewhere without warning. In addition to surprise and mobility, psychological warfare played a significant role. The fearsome reputation of Viking warriors, amplified by their intimidating appearance and brutal tactics, often led to psychological demoralization of their enemies even before battle commenced. The sight of a Viking longship approaching the shore was enough to incite panic and surrender in many cases. Thank you kindly for watching.